Hello and welcome. I am Kelly Hearn, and I am here today to tell you all about my foolproof communication framework. So, you are on the channel where we help individuals and businesses implement leadership and career skill development to foster a greater impact. And so, one way that we can do that is by communicating exceptionally well. Now, that might sound like a bold statement, right? If you use my framework, you will communicate exceptionally well. But here's the thing, I know that this is a tried and true framework for more than a decade, and I have shared it with so many leaders who were able to implement it and get the exact same results. It is almost like Mad Libs. You just plug and play the information that pertains to your specific situation, and you are able to roll it out. Now, even better than that is, of course, I am going to be talking about it in a work sense and how you can utilize it for your career and to lead your employees to share information up, across, down, all of that. But also, you can use this exact same framework to communicate better at home with your kids, with your partner, with your friends, with your parents, with everybody, because it is just that universal. Again, you are just plugging and playing with the information that pertains to you in your situation and what you need to communicate. All right, no more further ado, no more fanfare. I'm going to share with you this foolproof framework. All right, so when you are communicating, I want you to do five things in this order. The order matters a lot. So we are going to start out with a compliment or acknowledgement. I know that can sound a little bit cheesy, and I promise you it will be heartfelt, and it is important that it is something meaningful between you and the person you're communicating with, or people, not just one. You can do one to many with this as well. So you are going to start out with a compliment or acknowledgement of the person or people that you are communicating to. The next thing you're going to do, so step two, just like Simon Sinek taught us, we are going to start with why. So after you compliment them, after you acknowledge them, you are going to go into why you are communicating, what the change is, what is happening, what's noteworthy, why is this all occurring? That is going to be your next step. Then you're going into the what, more tactical. What is going on? What do they need to know? So we're on step three there. Compliment, why, what. Number four, how. What does that person or people actually need to know to be able to accomplish what you're talking about? Okay. And then the fifth step is humility. Now, I want you to be confident. I don't want you going in and degrading yourself or belittling yourself. Humility isn't about that, okay? Humility is recognizing that there might be more room for clarification or for that person to have a need. All right, so again, you're going to start with a compliment or acknowledgement. Then you're going to go to why. Then you're going to go to what. Then you're going to go to how. And then you're going to go to humility. Now, I hope you wrote all of those down. If not, write them down now. Compliment, why, what, how, humility. That's the order. Okay, now I'm sure you're saying at this point, you're looking at your paper where you just wrote all of that down and thinking, okay, cool, but what does that mean? How do I do that? I can't just plug and play with those words, right? So let me give you an example. So I had to roll out a large process. Lots of people had this process being rolled out to them. We were talking to maybe 75 to 100 people, right? And so I used this same framework to communicate with that entire group. So let me give you this example. We started with a compliment and an acknowledgement. Thank you so much for all of your efforts in the manual work that you have been putting forward to get this work done. I so appreciate the long hours and the dedication to following the manual process. Moving into the why. Because I know that that is not sustainable in the long term, and I cannot keep asking you to complete overtime or take time away from customers or be so inefficient in your desk. we need to do something different. We can't continue with this manual process. Complement and why, done. Moving into the what. So we are going to be working with a new vendor going forward. This vendor has a state-of-the-art system and updated processes that will allow you to move quicker, help customers more efficiently, and work smarter in your day. We anticipate that you will have a savings of at least 1 hour per day by working with this new vendor. Complement, why, what, done. How. Now I changed it up when I got to the how, and I took it out of like sentence format and put it into some bullets for them just to kind of help digest it and make it more memorable when we get into the nitty gritty. So my how was, we will be conducting training on X date. You will be receiving processes to help you and support you in moving forward on Y date. And we will reconvene in 6 months after the change to see how things are going and see if there's any changes that we need to make to the process or to the system to make sure that this is working best for you. So we had those 3 different hows so that they could understand what they were expected to do, go to training, use the processes, give us feedback, and when that was all happening, the dates for the training and the processes, and the 6-month timeline on that feedback that we were expecting. All right, so we've gone through the complement, the why, the what, the how, and then the humility. So even though I had already done all of this work in the background to make this work well and worked with SMEs and all of that, in the humility portion of my communication, I shared that I was sure that there were things that I was missing. I was sure that there were questions that they had that were going unanswered by this email communication. And I was open to any sort of email or instant message that people wanted to send to me so that I could clear up anything that they had. So it showed a little bit of vulnerability on my side to say, look, totally possible that I'm missing something here. Totally possible that you need something more from me. And I am here to help. So when people got that email, I definitely got questions. I definitely had things that people wanted addressed or questions that were of a more nuanced nature that I wouldn't have included for the whole group, but were important for certain teams or certain individuals. And that was fantastic. But by and large, we didn't get any pushback or confusion, or most importantly, rumors, because everything was laid out and there was a clear avenue for them to take if they had concerns about what was going on. So that is a very large scale corporate example, right? Let me give you another one. I was conducting a one-on-one with a member of my team, and I needed to share some information with them about their performance. And so I followed the exact same framework. So went a little something like this. Hey, Susie, I really appreciate the effort that you're putting in. I know that you've been putting in long hours, but honestly, we're just not seeing the results that we need. And it's really important that all of our customers get taken care of. It's critical that we respond to them within a timely manner. So right there, we did the compliment and the why, correct? It's really important that we get back to them in a timely manner. And so going forward, I'm going to need a breakdown of your plan to advance the ball, your plan to get back on track. So there we have the compliment, the why, and the what. The how, you might have guessed, is a little bit up to them in this situation. But again, I needed to give some basic parameters around it of how I was expecting them to do it. So I let them know that I needed it to be in writing, what their plan was to get their work back on track. I needed something in writing. And then I needed some form of consistent communication from them so that they could let me know where the progress was at on their plan. Okay, so that was their how from me. The rest of the how was up to them to fill in the gaps on that. because their performance is really in their hands. And then in the end was a little bit of humility. Look, I know that things have been tough. I know that there are lots of obstacles that have gotten in the way, but at the end of the day, we need to be able to hit the results. And if there is anything else that I can do to help support you in getting there, please just let me know what that is, and I would be happy to jump in. So, again, a little bit of humility in the end. And while that person was disappointed that we were having that conversation, they were a little stressed and they were a little nervous. They didn't really have concerns per se. They were grateful that I was holding them accountable, but allowing them to create a plan to move out of it. They knew that I was there by their side because I told them and because I held up my end of the bargain. And I was there when they had questions or they had requests as a part of that plan. I mean, very simple example, but part of their plan was that I put the meetings on the calendar for them to just touch base with me 5 minutes once a week. And the reason for that was then they wouldn't be able to move them very easily. They would be there as a meeting from me. And I appreciated that. That's a great strategy because it works with their psychology. They don't get to bounce them around then. They have to go through me. So I was happy to set up a 5 minute meeting once a week, but they came up with the plan. So that ball was still in their court. Anyways, point of the matter is we followed that same framework for something that we needed to communicate to 100 people and for something super sensitive that I needed to communicate to one person. And like I said, so many leaders have also used this framework and been able to get results with their teams and in their personal lives. So I hope that that was helpful. I hope that you are able to implement this process and this framework for yourself. Let me know in the comments what you think is probably the most important aspect. I'm curious what you think of it and what you think you'll get the most out of, whether it's the compliment, the why, the what, the how, or the humility. And as always, share, follow, like, all of those things. It all helps to get the word out to more people. So have a wonderful day, and I will see you again next week.